Many people ask, why do you have to teach people how to kill? Well, that answer is coming up. But first, I ask that you subscribe by clicking on that top secret icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Now, why would we want to learn how to kill? Why would we want to teach people how to kill? Well, first of all, if you are an honorable citizen, if you are a law-abiding person, we're not teaching you, and I don't want to teach you, how to kill. We're not training assassins, and I'm sure you hope and pray that you will never be in a violent confrontation. And if you are, you hope and pray that you never have to take someone else's life. The key thing to remember is that we are not learning how to kill, we are learning how to end the threat. And sometimes ending the threat requires that we use deadly force, whether it be with a firearm or some other weapon, or whether we use our bare hands. It's important to learn how to kill, how to end the threat against us. Another thing to remember is that we are training to fight multiple attackers. We are training to fight people who may have tools that can inflict great bodily harm on us. We are also learning to stop the threat from people who may be on psychotropic drugs, who are oblivious to pain, who are hopped up on some kind of drug or adrenaline so that they cannot, or that they will not immediately stop their aggression with one strike. And we are training for all of life. We never know when we will be confronted by either more than one attacker, or where we will find ourselves in a situation where it is completely necessary to end the threat and to take a life. So a law enforcement officer in the execution of his duty, when confronted with someone who refuses to submit to a lawful arrest, even at gunpoint, or insists on fighting the officer and uses a deadly threat against that officer is allowed to use deadly force. Now, in that training, they are taught that is not killing someone, that is ending the threat against you. Additionally, the use of force by law enforcement is something that is determined based on objective standards of the person on the ground. It is not Monday morning quarterback typically by those sitting in an office comfortable while others are struggling on the street to arrest the bad guys. And you should look at yourself the same way. Factors that are objectively reasonable for the use of deadly force are your state of being. Are you tired and fatigued that you cannot effectively fight someone without actually ending their life to stop that threat? Is that person larger than you? Does that person have a weapon? Is that person being so aggressive that it's obvious they are trying to do great bodily harm or death to you? These are all factors that you should consider. If the police are given that consideration, surely a civilian ought to remember these things and be given those considerations as well. So we fight people, we fight possibly multiple attackers, we fight vicious criminals and predators using asocial violence to stop that threat. And part of that is the use of violence that leads to the death of others. Another reason why we teach how to end the threat, why we teach killing techniques like the throat crush, for example, or the neck break. We teach those things because we never know if that threat is fully eliminated. If that person is still moving, if that person is still standing, if that person has a weapon hidden on his person after we've thought we got him by taking him down, well, the threat is still there. And so we do multiple injury stacks to put him in a state of being out of commission. But sometimes we just don't know. Also, we may have to fight multiple attackers. So in order to fight multiple attackers, you might do something initially to the first one that may keep him at bay temporarily, but then you got to take on a second one, maybe even a third one. So the question is, what's the easiest way to guarantee that you're going to take care of all of them? And that is to end that threat by deadly force of one or many of them. And these are obviously considerations that law enforcement officers get, and therefore civilians should also get these same considerations if they are fighting more than one person. And perhaps the most important reason that I believe we should learn how to do violence to the point of death, that we should learn how to kill, that we should do killing techniques, is so that we do not do them by mistake. The human body is very resilient. I will never deny that. It's pretty tough, but it's also very weak. And there are things that you can do to a human body unintentionally that end up killing a human body. There's numerous examples that can be given of people who have been in a bar fight and the person ended up getting killed. Why? Because the punch or the blow or whatever happened, the kick, landed in the right spot and it caused death. So we don't want to ever kill someone by mistake. So we want to have the ability and capability not only to kill someone if we have to, because we're ending the threat against us, but also we don't want to make the mistake of killing someone unintentionally. And this bodes especially true for law enforcement. Although they can, I'm sure, justify a lot of what they do if they have to end the threat, the fact of the matter is that they better have intended to use deadly force in order to end that threat, if they indeed used deadly force. There are some things you just don't do if you don't intend to use deadly force. There's some things that you just don't do if you are not justified to use deadly force. So the question remains is, am I going to accidentally kill somebody, or am I going to purposefully end the threat by using deadly force? That is what it comes down to. So although I do not stress that you have to use a killing technique in every strike sequence, I do teach how to crush a throat or break a neck, simply because it's important to know that these things can kill. And you will hear in many of my training videos, the link to all of them are right here for the playlist. You have to remember that you have to be justified in what you're doing. So you have to know what you're doing and know if you're justified or not. So that being said, if you like this video and video on these topics, please click the like, give me a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Leave a comment below to make sure I know what you thought of this video and what else you would like to see in the future. And please, if you have not done so already, subscribe. Subscribe by clicking on that icon in the lower right hand corner of your screen. For personal training and consulting, please contact me through Instagram or Twitter.